How's it going, people? Welcome back to AFTV. Before we get into the warm-up, make sure you guys check out AFTV VIP, the mobile web app for AFTV, and look into the news articles. There's a couple reads of the week there. Slavia Prague reaction. I suggest taking a look at that. And talking about Slavia Prague, let's get the warm-up started and see what Arteta has to say about that game and the game coming this weekend.
Like all of us, I think he's really proud. I imagine he's relieved, and he doesn't give too much away, Arteta, in his press conferences, but I imagine there's a sense of relief because he needed not just a result, but a performance that reminded people that the players are backing him, and that he's doing some good. There's a lot of negatives around the club and embedded in this season, but there's been things to be happy about. Smith Rowe being one of them, spoke about him. What a brave player he is. And I like that word, brave. It's so true. He kind of does approach that game with total fearlessness.
If you think about the responsibility on his and a couple of the other youngsters' shoulders and the way they've reacted, then brave is the right word.
I think so. You saw Saka, the goal he scored, that was his second attempt at coming inside and hitting it, beating his man, coming inside, letting it go with his left foot. And the first one obviously touched away onto the post, but
great
that's
save.
what I mean.
I think
great save, yeah. That went a bit under the radar, didn't it? What a save.
Yeah.
They were terrific. He was also asked in his press conference about Lacazette and whether Lacazette's proven to be a bit of a big game player. And it got me thinking. I saw people talking about it on the timeline. I know, I'm curious to see what you think. I mean, he's definitely stepped up in games we've needed him most. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, and I think that's something you could say about Lacazette throughout his whole Arsenal career. There's been some big games, and there was only a couple of years ago when people were questioning whether he's the big game striker ahead of Oba. He's got a lot of big goals in big games, Europa League run we went on against Valencia and so on, over the years.
He got the equaliser in that semi-final as well. We went one down, comes on against Spurs to put us 3-2 up.
And in the league as well, he's got a few goals, City, Liverpool, I believe.
Chelsea, I'll always remember
Tottenham.
one. Do you remember Bellerin whipped it into him and he took the touch, shimmied and put it in the near post? I thought, that's class.
Then you had the Tottenham ones in there as well. So, he's been about in the big game for sure. I think the criticism of Lacazette more so comes from consistency. And I think this season has actually been his most consistent. Especially when you look at goals per 90 minutes and whatnot.
Very, very true. He was also speaking about team news. Now, this is quite interesting because obviously, there's a few players that we don't really have timescales on. There's not too much we know. Let's start with, obviously, David Luiz and Kieran Tierney are the more long-term injuries. And we still expect that to be maybe another month or so. There's doubt whether Tierney will be back even for the end of the season. Maybe if we make the Europa League, we buy ourselves that a little bit more time to see Tierney again. But then, interestingly, Martin Odegaard, don't know too much still. Arsenal like to keep their cards close to their chest when it comes to injury news. But one thing we do know is that Aubameyang is in hospital with malaria at the moment. He's on the up. He posted about it yesterday before the game. Obviously, that puts to bed any stupid rumours about whether he's pulling a sickie.
And I think you get well soon over because malaria is no small thing. Even after you get over it, there's some impact on you. So it's going to take a few weeks, bare minimum, for Oba to get back.
And this is the thing, I saw the news. I felt really bad for him because, as I just alluded to there was some, I think, pretty disrespectful claims going around about whether he was, pulling a sickie or whatever. And I thought, he's not got a track record of this, not Arsenal anyway. And you can have your criticisms, but I've never thought that he was sort of one to necessarily do that. So now we know the news and we know what's happening. We hope he's being looked after, and I'm sure he is. I'm sure he's being looked after as best as possible. And no idea when he'll be back. I don't know if it's going to be a week. I don't know if it's going to be 2 months. I genuinely have no idea. But we hope he's back soon.
Definitely.
And that's sort of it for the team news, really. The good news is no more injuries to add to it from Thursday night.
Yeah, 100%. And I think looking at Thursday night, job done. And, these next couple of weeks, there's a few games in there in the Premier League where I don't think there's much left in it for us. We're going to discuss that shortly. But I think it's about making sure the key players remain fit. That's important moving into that Villarreal game.
I completely agree. And actually, may as well look at the Premier League table now, which we've got here now. Obviously, Fulham, that's who we're facing Sunday, 1:30 kickoff UK time. They had a brief spell. We're going to touch on Fulham's last 10 games in a second, but you see there, in the bottom three, I don't think there's any way out for them. I thought there was a chance. There was a moment. But Newcastle get a draw at Spurs, they get that win against Burnley. Fulham, on the other hand, have lost their last 4. Again, we're going to touch on that in a sec. Only 5 wins all season. It's just not enough.
I think if you take it back maybe 3-4 games, I can't remember off the top of my head, and you looked at Fulham's form and you looked at some of their performances, I think you could see a fight back coming. But I think the last 4 games have pretty much dead and buried that. You look at the table, they've played an extra game. They're already 6 points off of survival at the moment with 6 games to go.
Everyone above them's got games in hand.
Yeah,
that's the thing. So what have they got left? 6 games left to accumulate. Basically, we're saying 9 to 12 points. That might not even save them. No, no,
Yeah.
and too right. That's kind of why I went towards the 12 side, because I'm thinking you really got to.
So it'd be interesting to see how they come into the game. Do they still have some belief that they can get out of this relegation zone, or do they, like me, believe the season's done for them?
Yeah, look, they're a proud club and they play good football. I think Scott Parker, I think they should. I don't think there's any talk of him going, but they should stick with him.
Yeah.
I think when I look at Fulham, it's going to sound bad. They've got some very talented players in there. Anderson looks a really good player.
Pereira, that's West Brom. Sorry.
Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah,
Lookman is
Lookman, really talented. Mitrovic on his day as well, but they don't look ready really to do necessarily much better than they are now.
Yeah.
I bet they're going to drop a masterclass at the Emirates now. I've said that, but it's kind of the reality of what we've seen there. By the way, I really like Fulham. I want them to do well. They're somewhat my local club, and I like them a lot. But
and their stadium reminds me of the good old days. It's a nice little stadium. It's similar to the way Highbury was built in between housing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to patronise. Fulham have done some great things in the Premier League over the years, and they've got some very talented players. I just think there was looking like there's going to be a bit of a fight back, but it's just dwindled out.
Yeah.
We'll talk about Fulham in a bit more detail in a sec. Let's look at Arsenal's side of the table, because we are actually on the right side of the table.
I'm surprised. I was looking around here somewhere, but
yeah, exactly. It would be nice at top of something. But all right, so I'm just going to say it. These games still matter for me, because we can beat last season's points tally. Doesn't sound like a big thing, but for me it is a big thing. It's a little sign of progression. More wins, more points. We can do that. We can get more wins than last season. People forget we drew a lot of games last year, so while we didn't lose as many as this season, I like to look at it as any game we don't win is points dropped. So we actually dropped more points in games last season than this season.
Yeah.
So for me, there's still something to salvage. And okay, 8th would only be matching last season, which was appalling as it was. But 7th, 6th, is there some late? No, 5th is probably unlikely. But to try and get 7th or 6th for me would be a good step for me in any way.
Sometimes, I get what you mean with the points, and I get you wanting us to better the points tally and whatnot. And on paper, that definitely looks good.
Yeah.
It's just that sometimes those stats, or the way we look at those, can paint very different pictures depending on who's looking at it, who's delivering the message. I remember we finished 12 points off top 4 with Wenger one year and finished 6th. If you look at the table now, we're 10 points off top 4 in 9th. And I think that's what I mean by, on paper, you'd think that this, in comparison to that season, was miles off.
Yeah, it's true.
But because of the quality in the league all around this season, we're a lot closer to that.
Yeah.
The quality is expected to rise because this season has been a bit of an anomaly with Man City running away with it. But I know what you mean. You want to look on the bright side, and that's the way to look at this season.
You want to look on the bright side, and you want to point to something that suggests progress, because that's what you're trying to do. So you're trying to move forward as a club. So I agree with that. I mean, I always use the analogy of, it's not even an analogy, just the fact that we finished 2nd on 70 points year after. Was it a year after? Yeah, 5th with 75.
How many points did we finish on last year?
54 or 56, I think.
How would you feel if, come the end of the season, we're on 59 points, 60 points, and Arteta comes out and says, listen guys, we've improved our points tally from the season before. Now, can you understand how someone like me might take that as Arteta, mate? Come on.
There's certain things managers don't need to say that we can just know, and I think that's one of them.
But when there's little positivity to take out of a season, like you've alluded to, this being one of them potentially, when you're asked for, an example, he might be only left with that one. And when you hear it from someone in that position, hearing it from you as a fan is completely different than hearing it from the club. I wouldn't want the club to think that's the improvement at the right time, the right pace. It's not.
Yeah, it's fine. I'll take the heat for Mikel. I'll tell him, look everyone, look, we've won more games, won more points, let's sing and dance about it, pop some champagne.
That's it, Arteta sends over to James just with a summary.
Yeah, look, I just think for me there is still something to play. If not pride, if not just also for getting some sort of rhythm going into what's hopefully a crucial 3 games in the Europa League, because obviously we don't want to stop after these next 2. We said we'd talk about Fulham in a little bit more detail. I mean, let's go to the very top. So 10 games ago, they won 2-0 at Everton. They have the ability to do that. They've put up a good fight. They played good football. They went and got a draw at Spurs. You know, they're no mugs, Fulham. They've got some really good players. I just think when watching them, I always felt like it was nearly. You're nearly really good. You're nearly convincing me that you might stay up. And some of the results, beat Sheffield, draw at Palace. They beat Liverpool. You're looking at, you're going win, draw, win. That's what, 10 points or 11 points in 6 games. Yeah. But then they go and win. They go and lose the next 4. And that for me just kind of tells you they might have just run out of gas a little bit. Yeah,
and I remember that Fulham-Tottenham game there that they lost 1-0. They was very unlucky there. VAR, as usual on Spurs' side, took a goal away from them. Fulham would have got the draw there. Obviously, they bounced back against Liverpool and still won that game, but the 4 games since is pretty much done and dusted their Premier League, ambitions for next year.
I think so. I think that pretty much is but that doesn't mean it's going to be easy. That we had it easy on the opening day. We go win 3-0. Yeah. Willian's the signing of the season. Everything's great, but I don't think they're going to roll over. I think we're going to find this quite tricky, actually.
And some of those players have a potential move to play for. As always with relegated sides, there's 1 or 2 that tend to get nicked from the Premier League, and there's a couple of players at Fulham. That potentially.
Who would you take right now?
Who would I take?
I quite like their right back. Is it Tete? Is that?
Yeah, I think that would be an interesting one.
Yeah.
Anguissa.
Yeah, he's a
Anguissa, head and shoulders. Yeah, he came to my mind. Yeah. Anguissa.
He come from Marseille, did he?
Well, he came from somewhere around there. Obviously, Basuma would be my preferred.
Right, yeah.
But listen, if we can work something out, save some money somewhere, as Arsenal like to do.
Yeah. See, we're doing a lot of work for Mikel here. I'm taking the heat for you. Right, we're sorting out transfer targets. Yeah, big up us.
Trust me.
Yeah.
Right. You got Willian up there, another masterclass coming. That's where he started his Arsenal career. 2 assists. So. Everyone, it was 3 assists.
Well, it got disallowed, didn't it? They said one of them didn't count, which for me I thought was a bit harsh.
Yeah, so he got 2 in the end.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway.
And we all thought that, the story started off well. It hasn't gone so well since.
Yeah.
But I do expect to see him.
So you think he'll start this game?
I expect to see him just because over the last couple of games we haven't seen him as much as I would have thought.
I do, I mean, to a degree, I'd expect Arteta to maybe rotate.
Yeah.
Robbie got us to chat to the guys at Fulhamish.
Yeah.
They gave us their thoughts on the game.
Yeah, let's see what they have to say.
Yeah.
Hello everyone at AFTV, my name is Don Betts and I'm from the Fulhamish podcast and YouTube channel, and obviously looking ahead to the big clash on Sunday at the Emirates against Arsenal, talking from a Fulham perspective. So really from my expectations from the game itself, it's do or die for Fulham here, really. Obviously Newcastle beat Burnley last week. We lost to Wolves, and the gap's now 6 points with a game in hand for Newcastle, albeit their game in hand is against Manchester City, and we take on Newcastle on the final day. So we just need to be within 3 points and have a decent goal difference, or be close to their goal difference so we can swing it on the day. But yeah, we have to go for this game. Simple as that. I think although a point wouldn't be bad, I think we need 3 points. I think if Newcastle get another win, it's game over. So we really need to put the pressure on Newcastle with a win against Arsenal here. I think with your guys' sort of excerpts in Europa League, we might hope to play on it. We wouldn't have played for near enough 10 days because we played on a Friday night against Wolves in our previous fixture. This game not being till the Sunday lunchtime, so I'm hoping we just go for it. I don't think we got nothing to lose now. Most people will be looking at us saying they're probably down. Newcastle probably safe now. So I think all we need to do is just go for the game. Go Arsenal from the front. Press their defence early on. We need to force you guys into making mistakes to allow us to create chances. We got decent players in our attacking areas. We got Mitrovic, who, although he hasn't had the best of seasons, he's still a quality player. He scored against Villa a couple of weeks ago. He scored 5 goals in 3 games in the most recent international break. Ademola Lookman, everyone knows what ability he's got. They saw it at Everton. They saw it at RB Leipzig. We've seen it in stages this season. He's back from injury, so hopefully he will sort of biting, ready to really cause some issues and really try and keep Fulham in the Premier League. And then you also got our top goal scorer, Bobby Decordova-Reid, who I think is going to be a very crucial player. So I think it's all about that front three, pressing your back line, trying to create chances, trying to force you guys into mistakes. Yeah, so I think it's going to be a very tough game. I think Fulham are going to have to go for it, as I've mentioned. So I think it's going to be a great watch. I don't think either team's going to be reserved. I think you guys are going to continue good form. You scored 7 goals with no reply from the opposition in your last 2 games in all competitions. So yeah, I think it's going to be a very open game, very interesting. And if I'm going to go for an expected Fulham lineup, I think it will be very similar to what we've seen recently. I think you have Areola and net, then have a back 4 of Kene Tete, and a centre-back partnership of Hakim Anderson and Tosin Adarabioyo. Left-back Olarena. I know we've seen Anthony Robinson at times, but I think Olarena is just a lot better player, a better all-rounded player. Then the 2 holding midfielder positions, I'd have Harrison Reed and Mario Lamina. Those 2 have been playing recently. We could see Anguissa come in, but since he reportedly contracted COVID back in December, he hasn't looked like the same player. And then the 3 behind Mitrovic, I think you'll see Ademola Lookman, Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Bobby Decordova-Reid. And if I've got to go for a score prediction for the game, I've got to be positive, coming on Arsenal channel, being a Fulham fan. So I'll go 2-1 Fulham, but I think it's going to be a very close game. I think there will be goals, but I don't think any team's going to win by more than a 2-goal margin. I think it's going to be a very close game, but as I said, all the teams have to go for it. But I've been Don Betts from the Fulham podcast and YouTube channel. Thanks for inviting me on, guys.
Well, let us know your thoughts in the comments about what the guys at Fulhamish had to say. Back to where we are now.
Well, we've got this game coming Sunday, starting 11s. I know we always like to disagree on these.
Yeah, always.
I've had a little sneak peek at yours.
Yep.
I've got a bone to pick with you, man.
Which one's that?
Well, tell them you're 11.
Alright, let's go. Leno goes in goal because he's had a couple clean sheets under his belt as well.
Yeah, fair enough, yeah.
Keep him in there. I'd put Holding in his position because I feel like, listen, the 2 left-footed centre-back thing, it's not happening.
Yeah.
And if I put 2 left-footed centre-backs with a right-footed left-back, it just sounds a mess.
Okay.
So for this one here, I'm going Holding and Gabriel.
Okay.
Cedric on the left, Chambers on the right. Any bones to pick yet?
A little bit.
Okay, we'll move into it. Partey or Nene in the middle. Reason being, Partey, I think he needs the game time. He needs to, continue improving at the club. El Nene, because we haven't seen him in a little while, he hasn't had a game in a little while. Xhaka has become a bit more important considering he might need to be utilised as a left back in the Europa League. So I think protect him a little bit, especially with Tierney being out. So I'd go Partey or Nene. Ceballos has had a few games in the past week and a half. I'll go with Willian in the 10. Again, Emil Smith-Rowe, you've got to protect him. Yeah. With the circumstances around Odegaard, no real update. Protect Emil Smith-Rowe like we're going to need to protect Xhaka. Reece Nelson on the right for me. Again, someone that has had very little opportunity this season. In a nothing game for me, at home against a team where,
May as well see what you can do, yeah.
And Martinelli on the left with Balogun up top. Again, Lacazette, you've got to protect him. Similar to Emil Smith-Rowe with Odegaard and Xhaka with Tierney. Oba being out, you've got to protect some players.
Fine, so my issue actually isn't anything to do with necessarily the rotation side of things.
Yeah.
I think when I saw Xhaka wasn't at left back, I'm thinking we finally found a balance in the team, and you want to go spoil it all. But
nah, you can understand my reasoning behind it.
I can. Now you've explained it.
Because we lose Xhaka, we're back to
square one,
playing a right-footed left back and trying to make it work. So that's literally the only reason. Because usually I leave Xhaka out.
Yeah, I hear that. I prefer
to leave Xhaka out. This time it's about protecting him.
Fair enough. Well, look, I'm going with the same team that beat Slavia Prague so convincingly. Only Cedric in for Chambers. That's the only change I make. I think we found a rhythm. We found something that works. Keep it going for me. I think because as I said, I feel there's something to play for in this league still.
Not weary of injuries or not weary of any.
I'm one of these people. As long as you're not overdoing it. Injuries in football happen, right? Yeah. We're playing Sunday. We then don't play till Friday, and we don't play till the week after, which I think is the Thursday, which is the Europa League game. There's nice gaps there. Yeah. Things that will happen to Tierney, they're freak unfortunate injuries. I can't get angry at the manager for wanting to win that game and playing our best left back. So, yes, you think within reason. That's why I don't mind Lacazette coming off with 20 minutes to go. I'm okay with that, but. Not starting him at all. I don't know. Or if you're gonna make changes, it's one at a time. So
I look at the 2 games we have in between Villarreal, Fulham, and Everton, I believe, next Friday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Next Friday.
The harder game is obviously Everton. So I'd be interested to see how Xhaka left back works against a difficult outfit. We've seen how it works against Sheffield United and Slavia Prague.
Yeah.
If we want to take it into Villarreal confidently, Then the Friday before, when you play Everton, Ancelotti managed Everton, and you play Xhaka there, that's a test. You know, I don't think he's been truly tested in that position yet. It's looked good.
Yeah.
So that's why I'd save that for Everton, and I'd go with more experimental formation or lineup against Fulham. Give a few people some chances.
What's your prediction then?
Listen, we're very good against Fulham usually. You know, I think we've beaten them the last 6 times. Convincing wins at that. I remember the first one under Emery when it was 5-1 at Craven Cottage. Everyone was singing, "We've got Arsenal back," you know, and how wrong we was. But I understood the feeling. 3-1. I'm going to go with another 3-1.
Okay. I'm going to go with 1-0 to Arsenal.
No way you're going 1-0. James, no way you're going 1-0.
Why not?
You think it's going to be tight like that?
Listen,
3-0 at the start of the season.
We've had our 2 good performances of the week. We're due a bad performance. This is what we do. We've done it all season.
Fair enough, and I thought I was the pessimistic one, but
I think I'm being optimistic.
I think I'm rubbing off on you a bit.
Listen, mate, well, let's hope not. But I think there's a little part of me that's like, Arsenal do this. We've had our 2 big performances. We needed a response against Sheffield. We needed the win against Slavia. Almost like they'll take their foot off the gas. I've been very pessimistic recently, but I prefer to do that and be surprised.
Yeah, you're going with a strong team.
Yeah.
And only a 1-0 win.
I know.
I'm going with a very experimental team.
You're going with the Hale End team and a nice 3-1
win.
And
a 3-1 win.
But yeah, I think Fulham are good.
Yeah, we'll see. Let us know in the comments below your predictions, lineups, thoughts around the game. Obviously, make sure you check out AFTV VIP for the Read of the Week. Check out the Slavia Prague reaction and all of that. And yeah, we'll be back again, I'm sure, real soon. Take care, people. Love and peace.